And so the Cheerios ad on their website, they had to shut down the comment section because of the haters, right? And there's a lot of support by far. There was like 14,000 likes, but there was still like 1,300 dislikes, which, why would you dislike a Cheerios commercial? I mean, what's a Cheerio ever done to anybody, you know? But so for those of you that are not necessarily living in our skin, it's still, while racism has, I mean, you know, there's been so much progress against that, but it's still prevalent, it's still around, it's deep-seated, and it's generational as well. So, but back to what you guys were saying. For me, like Glenn from The Walking Dead has been a huge hero of mine. Yeah, because here's a character, and they've never really. Him being Asian is not an issue. He's just a great guy. He's heroic. He's sacrificial. He's just a great part of that community, and has nothing to really do about his race. He's not really defined by being, Asian. And so the fact that he just, he's not the Asian guy. Like, if there was computers, maybe he'd be the tech guy. I don't know. But the fact that his role in the show is just being a hero, and it's awesome to see that sort of what seems like a small step, a huge step in the Asian American community. Well, we got a lot of great swag, so we want to burn through some questions. And so I'm going to put some restrictions. I'm going to, only one person can answer. That way we can burn through more questions. Okay, so there's a question right here. Yeah.
First statement. Don't do the microphone. Okay.
Thank you.
First statement. Well, thank you for coming. Actually, that's not my first statement. My first statement is racism and stereotyping isn't exclusive to any specific race or ethnicity. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's my question. In trying to be more diverse, as some of the panelists have said, why is it that in trying to be more diverse, that sometimes in being more diverse, the non-Caucasian characters are portrayed as the stereotype of that group?
Yeah. You're asking why that happens?
Yes, why does that happen? Is it a marketing thing? Is it because it just feels more comfortable and thus doesn't allow individual representatives of that group, and thus perpetuates those stereotypes in the popular culture?
Who wants to answer that? Andre?
Yes. Well, that was we just talked about Glenn from Walking Dead. It had actually popped a thing in my head. It kind of goes along with the statement. I think what's interesting is that, and I've heard this statement before from writers of just we would have more minority characters, but we don't have any minorities on the staff, or we don't know how to write for that character. It's like, why is it any different from any other kid? Just write a character, I think if you look at some of the very diverse TV shows, like Lost or Grey's Anatomy or any of that kind of stuff, it's like no one on there is like, oh, you're the black person. It's like we're just a different character. Every person has successes, they have failures, they have flaws, they have quirks, they have whatever. So you don't have to do that. So I think what ends up happening is you either get these extremes. You get somebody who tries to write a character that's so distant from their race that they could have basically just been a white person because there's nothing about them at all, or they're just like the background character who's just sort of there and you're like, all right, we got one, yay! And then we move on. Or they do what you're kind of referring to as like, well, I heard a black person say this once before. I heard some Asian people do this, and I'm just gonna throw that in there because of something I heard, and something they heard is probably a stereotype from something else that someone thought they heard. And then you do get just the wacky catchphrase talking stereotype, and it's interesting how you see it more, and particularly being in the world of comedy, I love that it happens to a very racist scale, and then they just go, but it's comedy! Yeah. And you're just like, no! There's a certain line after a while. But yeah, I think that it's one of those things, if you're a writer, if you're creating a character, either don't think about it, just make your character and let the character be the character, like something like that. Or if you want it to be cultural, I'm pretty sure there's some black and Asian and Latino writers out there.
Yeah.
At least one that I'm sure you could call up, or your staff, or get people in there. And that's something I would say to even ourselves is get behind the camera. It's like one of the reasons why I did my YouTube channel is like I want my voice out there, and because I want to meet other people who have that same voice and do that. So I feel like the same thing has to happen with movies, with TV, with comic books. If more of us are writing, if more of us are behind the scenes, then more of us get seen in person.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. All right, for Bobby Rubio contributed this comic book. He has a Latino main character, so come on, get that. Yes, next question.
Yes, I wonder if you could comment on the Tonto character in the recent Lone Ranger movie.
Well, no one saw the Lone Ranger, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no one saw that.
I actually saw the movie, and I actually really liked what they did. I thought it was actually Tonto's movie, and the Lone Ranger is the sidekick. That's how it comes across to me. And I thought the fact that it didn't come across that way to so many critics and reviewers, I wondered what that kind of said. So I just wondered if you guys had any comments about that.
You're about to say something, go ahead.
I've never watched the movie, so I don't know. No.
Yeah, that's a hard question because I haven't seen it either, so I don't want to just speak out. I mean, I could make some broad generalizations, you know, and maybe like things like Avatar, the last Airbender movie that came out would probably be a good, like, why did you nerf all the, you know, Asian main characters in that? That was an egregious sort of, you know, situation. But I haven't seen a movie, so I don't know. It's hard to answer that. But.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about though, because they did make, I didn't see it either, but I read reviews of it, but they made Tonto a very stronger character, I guess to sort of avoid that. But in my feeling, wouldn't it have been awesome if you found a new Native American actor?
How awesome would that have been?
And this would have been his movie. You know, we've seen this happen where you're like, here's a brand new introducing character. You know, I mean, like Jennifer Hudson in Dreamgirl, like that kind of situation. That would have made that awesome.
Absolutely.
It was again that half situation again. Like we're gonna make the Native American character amazing, but we're gonna have Johnny Depp playing. It's like, kind of sad, you know.
So please come up. So Jeffrey Moy contributed this beautiful print of Storm. So there you go for you. Yeah. Please, next question. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah. No question for the panelists. Yes.
Hi everybody, thanks for putting this panel together. A lot of what you're describing sounds like you've taken steps along the path of what people would call social activism. So I'd like to know your relationship, or if you follow sites like Color Lines, Angry Asian Man, Muslima Media Watch, Native Appropriations, who I should have had the definitive take on Johnny Depp's Tonto, as far as I'm concerned. Do you follow those sites? Do you encourage your readers to follow those sites? Where do activists fit into this discussion, even if they're not?
Yeah. I mean, I follow Angry Asian Man. Is there anything you guys follow that's related to this?
Well, the thing is, like, I just follow other other news sites that actively talk about this daily, actually, on their Facebook feeds.
Yeah.
And that's the news to me, because I think that's the most important, because in our, I guess, the cosplay community and the comic book community, there's a huge thing called pretty much like, did you guys hear about the whole like racist thing, and like kind of like, it's pretty crazy now, and more people are writing about it every day. And I think that it's amazing what women have been doing lately, saying that it's not okay to, I guess, put your hand on a girl's hip and things like that. People are really active now, after, I guess it was my friend Megan who actually wrote about it and shared her experiences, even though it broke her personally. And I think that after she did that, everyone started standing up. And now, I mean, I even noticed on the show floor that women are like, no, you can't do this. And I think it's empowering as hell. It's not like we're trying to attack all men, or, I mean, it doesn't only happen to women, it happens to men too.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, so it's pretty crazy. I mean, I see it every day.
Where did our guy go to ask the question? Anyway, this is a beautiful print by she's a female artist, Zay Jones. She's actually an Asian artist here at Artist Alley. So,
Tony, I'm gonna pay that forward, but I would like to get maybe some contact information.
Sure. Okay. All All right, great. Please go ahead.
Hi, so I'm multiracial and both of my parents are also multiracial.
You speaking to the microphone, I'm sorry.
So I'm multiracial, both of my parents are also multiracial, and I grew up with Octavia Butler, who really, I felt, explored those issues of what it is to kind of feel like you're on the fringes of even what's supposed to be your own community. And do you feel like there are people who are doing that today still? Because I feel like a lot of the time, like those kind of issues, it's like people want more representation, but then they're also at the same time afraid to talk about what it means to be someone like that.
Well,
Go ahead.
I actually read something really interesting recently because Lucy Liu is actually speaking out about this a lot. And she's Asian American, obviously, and she is in elementary, and she's playing a role that's probably not typically considered, or wouldn't be typically played by an Asian American woman, and I think that's fantastic. And she's actually speaking out because she's saying something very similar to what you said, in that she wants to play roles that are outside of what people expect of her, because she wants to break those stereotypes, and she wants to expose the different audiences to these different roles so that they get used to it. Because if somebody isn't a pioneer, nothing will change. So if somebody doesn't try to break these molds and speak out against it and make this topic obvious and start a discussion more than anything, then nothing will change. So I think that she's a great example of somebody who's trying to change things. Yeah.
Yeah. Print, you guys can trade these since I'm handing them randomly, but this is by, oh geez, I have his card, but it's a beautiful Wolverine Beast print, and I have his card right here, Jerome Opeña. So yeah, thank you. We have to burn these quick, 15 minutes, go ahead.
So first, real quick on the Tonto thing, I found it really problematic in a number of ways, and something that really bothered me was one, the trope that Native Americans belong in the past, they were all slaughtered. Two, there was actually a scene where the Native American tribe is getting slaughtered, and then 2 seconds later, Tonto is cracking jokes and running to save the white character. So in all kinds of problems, like Arturo said, check out Native Appropriations for more on that. My question, which has nothing to do with that, is what do you guys see as the responsibility of fans who want to see more diverse work from the creators, especially because I will often have conversations with my friends like about the Last Airbender casting, about heroes, things like that, and I can explain to them all the problems, and they'll even agree with me, but then they'll say, well, I really want to watch it.
You know, I think, I don't answer this real mind, I think we each have a voice. In this day and age, in the age of the internet, Twitter, Facebook, we each have an opportunity to have a voice and to contribute somehow to the conversation. And so by speaking up, by advocating for, I think the core of it is that we need minority creators at the core of comics, TV, film. We just need more representation of creators. It's not necessarily just, again, sorry for this, you know, white men specifically creating Asian, ethnic characters, which is fine, but we just need more representation at the core, people creating and those people being celebrated. And you know, I think through our chorus of voices, we can make that happen. Just by talking about it, making an issue. I have, you know, a lot of white friends who just aren't necessarily thinking about that, so I talk about it and educate, and then they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and they pass it on to so on, so on. And so we have an amazing tribe here that can just spread the word organically. And you know, I think what's awesome is that here at Comic-Con is that there's so much of that interaction happening naturally. And so yeah, I think places like this, I think places online, you know, nothing needs to be, the word needs to spread, so yeah. You're gonna get a book called Rotten Apple by Sanford Green, so you might get that, so. Next question. Good
Hello.
question.
I have a question. I read something a while ago about how a lot of like white authors or creators of characters feel uncomfortable writing minority characters because they don't know what they're like. But it seems to me that there's a lot of dystopia and stuff coming around now in like other worlds and stuff. You know, they're still mostly just white characters. So what would you say to people who don't feel comfortable about writing minority characters to encourage them to do that?
Can I answer that? It's not that hard. We're around. and
we don't bite. We don't bite. You know. We don't have the zombie
the
plague.
thing is, when I hear that, it makes me think, okay, you either stay at home way too much compared to me, because I stay home like all the time, but the thing is, if you want to write about something, be kind of like proactive and actually go out to find those people.
Yeah.
It is not hard. Go to Starbucks. Everybody goes there. And then you can find an Asian person, a black person, doesn't matter, another white person, whatever. Whatever you want to talk about, even on Craigslist. Right?
Asian wanted. Wait,
Or tweet it at me.
that's a different Craigslist post.
I can write about a parallel universe, but I can't write about a black person.
Or like tweet it at us and we'll retweet it, and maybe somebody is Asian, or maybe an alien will write back and you need an alien, whatever, I don't know. But really it's not that hard, and I think that when they say that, they're not working hard enough or they're not right for the job. So, yeah.
A Powerpuff print by Philip Boy.
Yeah, I'm seriously gonna ask a question.
Favorite show? Yeah, all right. I knew that.
Why were there no black Powerpuff girls?
Only black hair, why?
Buttercup.
Who's that based on?
I'm about as white as it's possible to be, but
We love you anyway.
I wrote a book recently, and I had a lot of people of different ethnicities in my characters, just because it makes it more interesting and it gives more variety. But you know, I grew up around a lot of white people too, so I just wrote them as individuals, like I do with everyone else, which it sounds like that's kind of the way to do it. But I'm wondering, when you're talking about non-white people being represented in pop culture, is it sort of less valid if it's coming from a white author, or how much does that matter?
I don't necessarily think it's less valid. I mean, of course, we encourage there to be more minority creators in the industry and the entertainment industry overall, but I mean, I know plenty of fantastic writers who just so happen to be white, but write some really fantastic minority characters because they go out and they have friends that are of different backgrounds, and they understand how it works. So I don't think it's any less valid at all, no.
And for you, we have a Comic-Con exclusive. Christy Zulo created this print, 17 of 100. So that'll go fetch a good price on eBay tonight. Please.
I just want to say thank you guys for coming out. And I actually have 2 questions. The first one is, have you guys ever felt any pressure or criticism from people within your own ethnicity, or anybody really, from other minorities, about some of the work that you guys have done? And the other question was, have you guys ever find yourself having to downplay your ethnicity or your sex in order to be more accepted?
One of the biggest questions I get about having a YouTube channel called Black Nerd Comedy is, why do you have a YouTube channel called Black Nerd Comedy? What if I call myself White Nerd? Go right ahead, I don't care. Yeah, that does happen. I've gotten that because, again, like the Cheerios thing, it's like there's a lot of trolls on YouTube. They like to say, oh, I hate your videos, fail. But again, when they want to come and hate my stuff, it is immediately to race. It's like it just happens. And then it did bother me because I was like, well, you know, when I write I'm going to do various comedy things, but when I write a joke that's race related, I get nervous because it's like I could write so many things that they would love and think it's funny, but you make that one race joke, and man, some people are like, oh, you know, whatever. Now I make this a political thing. It's like, what? You know, we're talking about Obama all of a sudden. Like, oh, how did this even happen? I'm talking about Pokemon. How did Obama show up in this? So, you know, I feel like because that's just the nervousness. People just are very nervous when it comes to race. It's a subject that people are very scared to talk about. And that's why nothing ever happens with it, because no one ever wants to touch it. And then when something extreme happens, like, I don't know, that happened recently, but when something extreme happens, then we all get like, what? Oh my God, you get all these crazy sides. Well, it's about race, it's not about race. Oh, race still exists? What? You know, it's like, because we're not talking. We want to act like we're all in happy fun land where nothing ever happens, but it's not true. So, it's a parallel universe where no race exists. So,
I know, I was this weekend cosplaying as the 11th Doctor, and I was like, is this gonna be kind of weird, like I'm an Asian dude, and I mean, I felt a little bit insecure about it, to be honest with you. But then I thought, wait, they're transitioning doctors, there should be an Asian doctor, and so I was like, in the conversation, I'm like, it should be female doctor, there should be a Latino doctor. I mean, like, this isn't, how could the BBC take this opportunity after 11 doctors not go for a doctor of a different ethnicity or sex or something like that? So it was an opportunity for me to talk about that, but I mean, I was a little bit insecure about it. So anyway, yes. Oh wait, for your prints, my personal favorites, a Karen Grant Superman print. So yeah, your personal favorite? Yes, my personal favorite. Yes, you do. So, hey, go ahead. Yes.
All right. When Slumdog Millionaire first came out, a bunch of people started asking Aziz Ansari, hey, are you excited about this new movie? And he's like, why? Because he grew up in South Carolina and he doesn't know them at all. But I was just wondering if you guys have ever been asked like a really weird question about some character of your ethnicity that you haven't been psyched about, and did it make you feel bad, or like how did it go down? What happened?
Yeah, sure.
Like just one character or all?
Yeah, any. The funniest
like one. Yeah, as in like my own race.
Any race.
Oh, any race.
Follow your heart.
I always don't want to follow my heart. Yes. No, but, the thing is, I generally don't listen to everything around me anyway, but I do get people on the con floor, for example, today, and I don't like talking about race so much, but it is always the thing, and they're always saying like, hey, you kind of look like Lucy Liu, and I'm like, cool, she does not look like me at all, but like, you should play one of her characters from Charlie's Angels, and I'm like, no, it's not that. It's just a fan thing, but like that happens to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like one of like a million things that happens about my race. But
quickly, is there anyone else? Because we're closing on time.
oh yeah, just whatever black person that everyone knows.
Yeah.
I've been big friends, Michael Clark Duncan, Kenan Thompson, Kel, just every black person that's popular.
Do you do nails, hair, whatever? I don't know. One of those weird things.
I actually get confused for Indian or Middle Eastern a lot.
Wait, you're not?
You kind of have the hair.
So people ask me about like dust and different characters. I'm like, I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think that's one.
But in
final.
a sense, it's innocent though. They don't know. So you can't really get mad at them if they don't know.
Because you got a Marvel shirt, you got a cool Hulk print, by Christopher Uminga. So.
He's cute.
Yeah, man.
He's so sad.
Speaking of the cosplay thing, I've noticed that there's actually a number of white chorus around. I wonder if they're getting any crap.
Yes.
Hello. First of all, thank you so much for putting on this panel. Second, I work in education. I work generally in the middle school to high school range, so I deal with a lot of multicultural issues. And just as someone who obviously is a big comic nerd and just huge, what is something that you would give me advice to tell these kids who obviously are facing these racial issues, and you can tell they want to say something, but they just don't know what to say. So maybe some words of encouragement that you guys got when you were starting out.
Well, I work with kids, so yeah, I kind of know where you're coming from. And I actually work with Latino kids.
Okay.
Yeah, so surprisingly, I can relate to these kids on a really basic level, just saying I like Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Like, I like Spider-Man too, and honestly, I understand the race issue, but talk to them. Like, use comic books, use Miles Morales, use Spider-Man if you want. Find characters that you think that they can relate to, and talk to them about it and bring up the race issue so that they understand that there is a difference, but that it doesn't need to be a bad difference, you know? And overall, show them these characters that they love and let them embrace them regardless of what race they are, because if they like the character, it's not because of their race. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Say Jinkies poster by Eddie Nunez. Yeah. All right. Just one more question. To end the con. Then we have time for
Okay.
a couple. Oh, man. All right. No. They said that we have till the full 5 o'clock. The 7AB room goes for 1 hour total, not 45. Look at that. Racism, right there! Did you see it? Did you see it?
No, the man's just doing his job. You've heard that man.
Can I get this last 2 out?
Okay, I'm going to speak.
Totally kidding, all right?
Like everybody else.
Short answers. Short answers.
Like everybody else,
question, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm going to speak what's on my mind. I'm not an angry guy, but I see things. I've been watching movies for years. You talked about Grey's Anatomy and TV shows like that, but these shows never make minority characters a lead character. I mean, this show was created by a black woman, and like the most popular people came out was McDreamy, McSteamy.
Yeah, right.
There was no minority men. Also, too, I think children get the shaft, minority children. I look at all these CGI cartoons that come out, and they're almost always white children that are the leads. And I noticed, too, that whenever Hollywood discovers a beautiful non-minority woman, Halle Berry, J-Lo, Frida Pinto, the one from Slumdog Millionaire, they always put her in a movie with a white man. I mean, it's like, what do you say that? I mean, it keeps going, it never stops. And like they never put minority men with white women, especially black men. You see it once in a while, but it seems like Hollywood is, afraid of that, and more importantly, it's like they're afraid of black love. I mean, I would love to see a black man and black woman come together and do something wonderful instead of the constant Tyler Perry or how many times you got to see the black man treating the black woman like crap. We're not monsters.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes, your answer is yes.
Yes. All right. You just get a yes. All right, you get this super cool, check out this super cool Stormtrooper print by John Barlow Jack or something like that. So there you go. Yeah. All right, you can sit down. We'll trade it later. Okay. There you go. All right.
Hi. I was wondering, aside from like fear, how much you would think trying to bring up the topic of explain the rightful like distaste or hate from like a culture from their history of being mistreated. I know from like my perspective, like Native American, when we go back through history, like we've always had all these stuff done to us, and it's like we have this kind of aspect of not wanting to really trust Caucasians or whites, but then having to build a character around that, having to make that make sense to where people are like, yes, there's a rightful reason for them to not have that very like, oh, let's love everybody, but have like a little like, how do I deal with this anger and this hate for culture from the past and stuff like that. I was wondering, how do you address that issue in like writing or?
Can you? I'm sorry. What's your
like
question?
as far as like to build a character around that, as making that part of their background story, as far as letting everybody explain it that they have a distaste for a certain culture because of what has happened to them, but not to where it's like, well, they're wrong for feeling that way, but like it happened to them, they have to accept it and move on. Like, how do you feel like for multicultural characters that affects like the overall background and people not wanting to write characters because of making it, I guess, understanding for them to distaste a certain culture?
Yeah.
Well, I think the easiest ways is to give them superpowers, so it's nothing about their background, because generally when I read comic books, are you a writer?
No, I'm just just reading. Like, I don't have from my superheroes. Like,
Right.
It's a Apache
How you
Chief
avoid
and,
it? Like touching.
How do you make it more or easier for writers to put that in, where like it makes sense to like Apache Chief like.
Oh, I
has-
see. That's a hard one.
I think if you're gonna write a character that has that as part of their core, then you just have to make sure that they grow as a character. Because if they have that as central to them, they have to overcome it somehow, because that's what people want to read, and that's what would make a good character.
I think naturally organic, authentic, and it comes from a real place. That's not just a facade. And I don't think none of us are defined by how we look, right? I mean, we're not defined by how tall we are, how short the color of our skin. To me, it's never been about our appearance. It's about mindset. And so I think if these characters are written where that's an authentic place, it may be a starting point, but then it evolves into a real dynamic and beautiful character. I don't think anyone has a problem with that. It's just, that takes a lot of hard work, right? So, yeah. I think this. All right, well, let me close with, thank you. This is our pay it forward artist. Let me just, in closing, the future is in your hands, okay? The reason why that we did this panel was just to get y'all thinking, because we know everyone here is on a spectrum of very involved to maybe just now thinking about the issues. And so you guys have a voice. Create the conversation, talk to each other, talk to the interwebs. People are listening. And so we have a tendency to find each other. And so create opportunities, celebrate minority artists and creators, and change can happen. Real quickly, Andre, where can we find more of you on the web?
You can find me on YouTube. Black Nerd Comedy is my YouTube channel, or you can follow me on Twitter at Black Nerd.
All right, great. Do you have a black saying you want to give us?
If you create a minority character and it turns into a movie, don't cast him as Johnny Depp. That's my advice.
Why not? I like Johnny Depp.
Okay, it's funny because
other characters
they took White Electro for Spider-Man, cast it to a black guy, and then painted him blue. So I'm so confused by how I feel about that. I'm like, anyway, go ahead.
Vampy bit me on all the things. So yeah, Vampy bit me. Yeah.
YouTube and Twitter, I like comics too. TOO.
All right, and then crazy the number 4 Comic-Con, and on @ and .com and everything else. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.